Thank you, Mr. Smith. I appreciate it. I want to make just one quick comment about what you've said about incremental reform on procurement. I've been here several years and have worked on this issue of procurement and trying to do something about it. And I hope and pray that what you're doing in this bill is really going to make a big change in procurement, because we're wasting billions of dollars every year in this area. I don't want to cut defense. I want the way we spend money for defense to be spent well. And I really am going to be watching this issue closely, because I think it's really critical to our overall national security issue. Chairman Rogers, we expect a robust amendment panel, so I'm going to keep my comments very brief. You've both talked about the 65th consecutive year that Congress has advanced the NDAA through to enactment if we're successful. To what do you attribute this year's successful bipartisanship on your committee?
We keep the focus on the warfighter and making sure we give them what they need to be successful and safe, and that is our focus. It always has been. We still have our robust debates around some small measure of issues, but generally the focus is where it should be, and that's our national security.
Right. And you've alluded to the fact there's an array of national security threats spread across an unprecedented global landscape. Nobody can pick up a newspaper where they don't read about China, Russia, Iran, North Korea threatening this country. So I'll come back to my concern about changing the procurement system and say, how are we going to quickly and efficiently calibrate our weapons systems, platforms, and other assets to win on the battlefields of the future, and what's embedded in the SPEED Act that's going to help us do that?
Yeah, you'll remember last year we made the focus of the bill, the primary focus, quality of life. And this year it was the acquisition procurement process, and that's because I'm a big believer that if everything's your priority, nothing's your priority. Last year, it was trying to improve the quality of life of our service members. This year, we have got to get after this problem with procurement and acquisition. It is far too cumbersome, and which makes it expensive and antiquated by the time it happens. So, as you heard the ranking member, we went into great detail on trying to abbreviate that. And in a nutshell, what we've done is we're trying to make the department function in a more commercial fashion. Let me give you an example. Right now, it can take years for us to put together a set of requirements that we expect vendors to try and meet. And by making them so detailed and cumbersome and broad, only the primes can participate. There are a world of mid-sized and small companies that cannot hit that target. We're getting away from that. One of the things that we do is, instead of giving this detailed requirements, we're giving a problem, saying this is the problem we need a solution for, and inviting the private sector to give us solutions to that problem. That is going to abbreviate that dilemma of several years down to a matter of weeks. But then from that point forward, a decision has to be made on which of those solutions that are offered will be made in a matter of 90 days. And we go on through the process by expediting, empowering acquisition professionals, and expecting them to make a difference. The way I like to characterize it is, you heard the ranking member say, we have worked on this for years. We've given them all kind of authorities to go faster. They won't use them. This year, we're telling them what they have to do, and we're giving them time limits to force the function of going faster. And it goes to the point that the ranking member made. We are going to be using high-tech weapon systems in the future. We have got to have the technology world involved. They will never be willing to function at this glacial pace and this cumbersome process we've had in the past. We're trying to fix the system so it accommodates this fast-moving technology.
Can I emphasize just one point on that? The requirements process. Simplifying the requirements process is the key. I remember I was visiting shipyard where they were refurbishing a littoral combat ship, which could get us into a whole nother conversation. But they were talking about, and I talked to one of the workers there, and they were repainting the portion of the ship that's under the water. And he told me that there were 1,200 pages of requirements for how to, and I don't doubt that it's more complicated than, I don't know, repainting your bathroom, but it shouldn't have that many pages of requirements. The requirements process has become a thing in and of itself, where they just sit around and come up with requirements, which if that's what you do, that's what you can do. But it has tied the hands of our ability to make the changes we need rapidly. It's going to be focused, as the chairman said, on outcomes. Here's what we want, get there as quickly as and intelligently as possible.
And that makes sense, because by putting out all the requirements and telling people how to do it, it assumes that people in the military or doing the procurement have all the answers.
That's right.
When you have millions of other people out there who are working on this, maybe in a much more up-to-date way, able to provide a much more efficient way to do it. So I applaud you on that.
During a House Rules Committee hearing on Monday, Representative Virginia Foxx, Republican North Carolina, spoke about defense spending and the proper allocation of funds. She emphasized the significant issue of inefficiencies in the procurement process, which have resulted in billions of dollars being wasted each year. Foxx made it clear that her intention was not to cut defense spending, but to ensure that the funds allocated to defense were being spent wisely and efficiently. She expressed her commitment to closely monitoring the issue, recognizing its importance in maintaining the country's national security. Representative Foxx acknowledged the challenges in defense spending, especially as the country faces a wide range of security threats, including those posed by China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Foxx also touched on the ongoing bipartisan efforts to advance the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, which has been successfully enacted for 65 consecutive years. She attributed this success to the committee's focus on the warfighter, ensuring they have the tools and resources needed for success and safety. While debates still occur over certain issues, the primary concern remains national security. One of the key points Foxx raised was the need for reform in the procurement system. She highlighted the slow and cumbersome process that currently plagues defense acquisition, making it expensive and outdated by the time it's implemented. Foxx and other committee members emphasized the importance of streamlining the system to meet the needs of modern warfare and the rapid pace of technological advancements. Representative Foxx pointed out that the procurement system must become more agile and adaptable. Instead of the traditional, detailed requirements that have only allowed large defense contractors to participate, the new approach would focus on identifying specific problems and inviting the private sector to propose solutions. This shift would allow for faster decision-making, reducing the current timeline from years to just a few months. The committee's efforts this year, according to Foxx, are focused on ensuring that the department works more like a commercial business, where efficiency and speed are prioritized. She stressed the importance of simplifying the requirements process, which has become overly complex. A prime example she shared was her visit to a shipyard where workers were refurbishing a ship and had to adhere to 1,200 pages of requirements just to repaint a portion of the vessel under the waterline. Representative Foxx also acknowledged that this overly detailed approach ties the hands of those tasked with making changes quickly. By focusing on outcomes rather than dictating the exact methods to achieve them, the procurement system can be more efficient and effective. This shift in approach is vital to keeping up with the rapid advancements in technology, ensuring that the military can access and deploy high-tech systems quickly. In summary, Representative Foxx's remarks underscored the urgent need for reform in defense procurement. By simplifying the process and focusing on outcomes, she believes the government can allocate defense funds more effectively, ensuring that the military remains equipped to handle modern threats and challenges.